Welcome back to episode 3 of the 2021 Spring Anime Survivor Show. Last week we voted off, I believe, Osana Najimi ga Zettai ni Makenai Love Comedy. And so there are now only 10 shows left. Those shows are 86, Fumetsu no Anata, Godzilla, SP, Hige o Soru, Soshite Joshikousei o Hirou, Ijiranaide Nagatoro-san, Shadow's House, Slime Taoshite 300年 Shiranai Uchi ni level max ni Nattemashita, SSSS.Dynazenon, Tokyo Revengers, and Vivy, Fluorite Eyes Song. That's the 10
Rolls
shows
right
left
off
on
the
the
tongue.
show. And we're going to just jump right into the conversation. We'll start and discuss episode 3 of 86.
Right, so it's about time we actually get some more characterization on the rest of the A6 crew. Our main boy isn't gonna carry the show on his own, or will he? That's the big question. How do you think the show did for its first extended look at the rest of the side characters?
It was okay.
I actually like this episode.
Because you get to look at how cute the girls are?
Not that. It's more just they finally did what I wanted to do, and they had like the dude get mad at Lena is her name, or what she goes by. Yeah, they had the guy get
Lena for short.
Show like the natural bitter attitude of like, yeah, you can act nice and all, but at the end of the day, you're in like the safe castle, and so you can never really
rich privilege.
So no matter how much empathy you show, it's hard for, even though she isn't, and she's not doing it in a ill will, but even so, from the other side, it's like they can never really accept that because of the distance in the position they're in versus her position. And so I'm glad they finally went there with this episode, and I really liked that.
Yeah, the directing definitely reinforces that, because while the Aces crew are all together and the room is crowded, her room is that she's alone. I mean, she has her one friend, but she in her job, she's just really alone in her immediate area. So she just have the crew of A6 as a social experiment to keep her company. I think she's doing it more as a friendship than as a job.
Something, parasocial relationship, something.
Oh no, this became just too real for me to handle. It's literally me every Friday.
His rant at the end there was intense, and now I can start to see where they were talking about how like, oh yeah, people come back from dealing with this guy like psychologically messed up, and I saw no indication of that in this show up until just then. So yeah, he our boy Reaper, he tells it like it is.
Yeah, it's kind of rough too, because like she's not like, she's doing it with good intent, like, and she's trying to do, but like because of the nature of like what she is and the entire situation is like, there isn't anything she can do, because at the end of the day they're just like slaves basically, and it's like no matter how nice you are, it's like you can't change that scenario by being nicer, I guess. So
yeah,
right. You guess she's gonna have to do her job, but how long is she gonna last for? Because she has to be the exception to, like, she's not gonna be like all the other previous successors who bailed out because they couldn't handle Shin and the way he gets into their heads.
I don't know, unless this show's willing to take like a really dark, really brave move there, like at the last minute. Like, can you imagine if she did like have an episode and like if he did get her to quit and she went crazy like midway through the season?
I doubt that we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I know, but how wild would that be?
Or if they actually like it just ends with her like losing her mind. That's the end.
Yeah, I don't think they have the guts.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even balls. Like, I don't even think, even if they did do that, it's like not that interesting. Like, even though it's like, you can take a chance and do something different, but to do that isn't even that interesting. Okay, so she just went crazy. Is that a story that's worth telling? That okay, this nice innocent girl tried to help people out and then went crazy. I don't think that's not even that interesting. Like even if you did do it, so it's like if you are gonna take some like departure from normal things, you should do it with like something that's worth doing. I feel like
if that was paired with I still stand by my theory that whole thing at the end of the war, in your 5 years you get to rejoin the country, that's a big lie, and maybe a combination of the psychological abuse and finding that out might break her. That's the only way they could pull it off. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but I feel like that would absolutely I'd be very impressed in the show if it would.
Yeah, I mean,
if they were willing to go there.
I wonder if they're going to do like action every other episode just because of like whatever work it takes to do the high action anime, because it seems like last episode was high action. And in this episode, I liked how, even though it's also is like a way to not have to do any animate anything, I like how it was like shows everything from her perspective. This episode, where she's just like in the box, right, seeing all the lights and like the data on the screen. And the previous episode, we saw like everything happening at the place. I like the contrast there, the difference in perspectives of basically the same type of thing happening.
Yeah, this is like
it's a
like
nice
brutal
touch.
mech warfare versus a desk job.
Yeah.
And
so
I feel
it's like
that contrast really sells the that speech at the end there.
Yeah, so I mean overall this might be my favorite episode so far. I mean my impression of this dropped since I like it's more that another show went up for me. So, but this show I still like the show. It's I still want to keep watching this one. I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. It could. This is still the type of show that could end up flopping and not being interesting. But so far, I'm happy with it.
It seems like it has potential.
Yeah, it's still early on. I'm just hoping they can just build on the character chemistry and make maybe like 1 or 2 side characters a little more interesting, because it's not just how much like the core dynamic between Lina and Shin is gonna drive the show. I'm hoping like a couple of the side characters can bring their own game into making the show more emotionally investing for me.
I'm not I don't care too much about the other people, and I'm fine as long as they just keep ironing out the dynamic between Lina and just all of them as a whole, not necessarily specifically Shin, but just like everyone. Like
I'm like an overall kind of person when it comes to media.
I just like the dynamic in general, and as long as it fleshes out and they don't just do something annoying or silly, which could easily happen in this kind of story. It could be like the type of they did that kind of ending, or depending on what they choose to do, it could make it less or more interesting. But overall, still liking it. And if they have more action episodes, that's also a good element of this show. The last episode had a lot of really good action. So if they can just keep doing either cool action or just explore this, relationship of the status sort of dynamic between them more, both are interesting. As long as they keep doing that, I'm down for this show. Any other comments?
No, I'm ready to move on.
Okay, we can move on to Fumetsu no Anata, To Your Eternity, I believe is how that is, English title. How'd you like... My first comment for this episode was like, 360 dog, no scope. He did like... like the dog literally did like a 360 bite. I swear there was a part where the dog did like a midair 360 and before biting. That was cool. I don't know. It was just like,
I mean, he doesn't know how to speak yet. He knows how to fight well.
But that's not even.
He knows how to speak at the very end.
Yeah, that's freaky how it does the. Well, you know what? I just realized the other characters gotta view him as like a deity. Because not every day you see a wolf speak in a human language.
Yeah, especially when Mega Polar Bear there was like, that was the god. I knew it. The polar bear is the god that they were sacrificing children to.
It was just all a coincidence.
And what? Yeah, exactly. How about that? It was just a big ass bear. But yeah, he sick
Mm.
fight, I guess.
Mhm.
I feel like this episode didn't have quite as strong of the emotional moments as the last two did. It was kind of just like plot, 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 fight.
What? And this happened, and look out! A different is series is gonna go for a different dynamic because we're not going back to the village. We're going to a different location. So
Yeah,
far, it's
no.
going how you like it. So far,
Yeah, it's not staying put in one place. It seems like what's going to happen is we'll be introduced to a new location in one episode, and then the next episode, like plot/action happens,
So I
and then
didn't
we move on to a
understand
new
why
location.
Hayase was like what's her plan, what she want to do.
like with the two girls,
Yeah, like
maybe she just doesn't want her tradition shamed.
Well, I think the
Because
thing is that
yeah,
she saw the bear get killed, but like, how in the hell are you going to explain that? Like, oh yeah, the god we've been sacrificing your children to just got killed by a dog, so I guess it wasn't really necessary this whole time.
yeah.
Uh, so like, if she has, so they all have to like play along as if it went through with no hiccups and things were just normal.
right. And then
So
we can just hide you two away.
exactly. So
I
now
don't understand why you wouldn't just
they're
expose
just,
it to the world. Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
I don't
times were
know.
different back then.
Yeah, they're
I don't know, this
village
type of sentiment,
mud
that
hut
type
people.
of parallel of that type of action to cover something up to maintain a tradition, that type of stuff still happens in smaller areas. So I'm pretty against that as a thing to happen. It's like
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
gross.
but that's
I don't
just
know.
how the story goes.
Yeah.
Yep. Any idea, like, what kind of role Hayase's gonna play? Because she was the antagonist last episode and the first half of this episode. So, do you think?
Well, they're supposedly going back to her village, so that's probably going to be
So, yeah, I think we're definitely gonna get some
like an old
backstory with
timey
her
big
in the next
city.
arc. I wouldn't think of it as a big city. Maybe
Well,
like as a bigger village.
like an ancient city. Well, they were there with some sort of authority, so they probably come from somewhere that's like a big deal in their area. So I
Yeah.
think
Well,
that,
let's just say it's more of a conglomerate, a network of
call it whatever you want.
villages.
They're going to a larger location this time
Yeah, let's say
with
like
a lot more people.
maybe
So
like it's the capital of their territory.
I guess, but anyhow, they're going there next, and yeah, they have a shape-shifting talking dog.
It
Right.
can be a he has two forms, dog form and man. Can he be like the bear yet? I wonder.
I don't know if he like
Mm,
absorbed the bear form because they didn't show him transforming into it.
Yeah.
no.
What's the condition that allows him to like absorb a form?
Maybe it's like he need to die and pass on. Because when he transformed the wolf was dying. And when the human was dying, he transformed the human. So maybe he needs to be close enough to a life form that is dying.
Yeah, I
in order
think
to
it's when
transform
someone or
into it.
something dies, he can turn into it, but there's got to be limits, or else he couldn't, or else he would just be able to turn into the bear. I think he has to
Hmm.
like kind of hang there for a second, like absorb it.
So why couldn't he absorb the big bear? I wonder.
I don't know. They're in a
Hmm.
hurry. Maybe he's
Maybe
gonna
maybe they'll
absorb it at the
explain
start
in
of
the
the
next
next episode.
Hmm.
Probably not, but I don't know. Just because that would like he'd be OP if he could turn into that. Maybe there's a size limit. I don't know. I feel like there's. I don't want to like think too hard about like the hard rules of this because it's clearly just like
Yeah, I don't
magic.
care.
It's just
Yeah.
magic, and that's not the point of the show.
Yeah, but
If it's
I don't care too much. I just like want to know like when it's going to happen and when it's not going to happen, It's like, huh.
well, I'm glad that they're not overusing it. If nothing else, I don't want to have like 100 different forms by the end of the series and it become like fight action show.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
human form and wolf form are pretty good. I'd say they're good enough for now that like you can do a lot of plot stuff with it.
Yeah, at this point, I wonder like what are they going to be focusing on? Because it seems like early we saw like big focus on human condition in the first like 2 episodes, and now it's like not sure what they're going to do. It's I guess societal issues, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe societal issues would be more fitting for this kind of show, as well as the dynamic of human society.
Yeah, like I feel like it's kind of going to go on the trajectory we predicted back in the first episode, where they're going to keep going in. Like, I guess he's going to have a small group of people that come with him now, but they're going to travel from place to place to place over the course of the
Probably
series.
have like 2 to 3 episodes arcs resolving issues at those locations.
Yeah, go to a new location, explore it, have some conflict that he overcomes one way or another, and then move on to the next. And
Yeah,
so on
meanwhile,
and so forth.
he gets more sentient and is able to communicate more and learn. Like,
Yeah, he's going to have to
and
start
grow.
learning to talk soon. So I'm sure that's going to happen next episode. But yeah, it
so
seems like they're going to.
basically, this episode was just plot development.
Yeah,
And
it didn't quite have the heart that the first two did. That the really tragic, like real moments, because there wasn't a lot of opportunity for that. We had plot stuff to resolve and a big fight to have. But now that that's over, I'm hoping it kind of gets back to the way the first couple episodes were, where it was much more like character driven and focused on just like telling a story about people.
yeah, just be interesting to see how Mach and Pauna are gonna have to deal with their new life, just traveling away from their home, by not ever gonna see it again.
Yeah.
So we need to like see some more interactions between the two of them next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Any thoughts about that, Bonnie?
Nope, nothing else for me. So we can move on to Godzilla SP. What did you guys think of this episode?
I think we're 3 episodes deep and Godzilla hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate tease. Was that supposed to be Godzilla at the end of the episode? The only clue they use is like the audio cue that we're also familiar with.
Yeah, they played the Godzilla music and it looked like it could be Godzilla, but maybe not. But that was just a teaser for next one, so I don't really count that.
I didn't watch the teaser, I don't think, or I don't know what you're talking about.
Or like that little bit at the end with the submarine.
Oh yeah, what? That was a different.
Yeah,
I don't think that was a Godzilla. That was like something else. I thought. I don't know.
It kind of looks like a Godzilla, but
I think that was like remember how they in the old episode they were like the legend. They had that painting that had all the radons and then like the submarine underwater monster. I think it was whatever that was, but I don't know if that's Godzilla or something else.
Well, they said in episode 1 that was Gojira.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's probably Godzilla, but like they have a Godzilla skeleton in the basement of the radio station, so maybe like
this is another one.
Yeah, it's just another Godzilla. So it's like this isn't like the real. I'm pretty sure what they're trying to do is make this like canon to the original Godzilla movie, and just that one.
I don't know anything about like history of Godzilla to make any of those types of. I'm just sort of watching it. It's like a monster show.
The way they talk about it, yeah, because the way they talk about it, I'm pretty sure this takes place in like the mid 2030s or something like that, for something I saw on one of the computer screens. And they keep talking about, oh yeah, like 70, 80 years ago, there was a Godzilla. And like the guy who ran the station 3 people before me, he was prepared. Now we've all forgotten about what Godzilla is. So I
never actually thought about that.
I think that's they're trying to imply that like this is all like that there was a Godzilla back, like in the 50s or 60s or whenever it was that movie came out originally, and now a new Godzilla is showing up as like I guess like a callback to that. But since the show's, it's kind of just making its own rules as it goes, and it doesn't really line up with any other Godzilla anything so far that I know of.
Yeah, it's especially becoming true of its anime original nature.
Yeah,
It's just trying to spin its own flavor with it.
Yeah, this episode was just
dealing with the well-done kaiju threat in its own humanity. Unlike most kaiju films, I think, where it just resorts to the military, like striking out with full force. At least, like in this show, they're trying to be creative with it and trying to use the radio waves against the well-done kaiju.
Who would win, 1,000 pterodactyls or one moped?
Yeah, I don't. I liked the. It was just like a. I liked the way the CG looked in this. Just the. I think like the show looks pretty good overall, and all the
there's a
sequences
couple
are.
times where the CGs are a little rough, but that's like when they're rendering something that's far in the distance, but they still use the fat pen lines.
Not sure what you're talking. Not sure what you're talking about, but overall, it looks decent.
Yeah, it's 99% of the time it's great.
So
yeah, it's just chugging along.
It reminds me of just like a like an old, like not old, but like a standard movie that has a conflict and like, oh, they're running from the monster and then they hide in the bus, which is fine. I don't know. It's
yeah, that felt very action movie.
It's like a like in Jurassic Park when they hide from the raptors under the tables and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
It felt like that kind of scene where they're just like gotta divert the monster, get them with the radio waves. And that was a fine episode for that kind of thing to happen. That was the main content of the episode, unless I'm forgetting like half of it.
Yeah, I think it's just like the exposition episode just to show us what the well-done kaiju is like in full force. Because
it's not really exposition. I think at this point we're into the stuff happening, and we got to run from the monster.
I think it's just like maybe I meant it wrong. Maybe it's just to show us what the well-done kaiju is like in full force. Because it's not because the well-done kaiju is not just like one; it's like many.
Yeah,
many that just came from the ocean. In like in a sea, like it's red. I'm not sure if it's meant to be blood or something
I think that's
else.
just something like because they've implied that the kaijus are like maybe artificial life forms isn't the right word for it, but like they're not like normal animals. Like there's something weird. They're being produced.
I think it's kind of like it's a portal or something.
From a weird way. Yeah, maybe it's a portal. Maybe like the red goo like coagulates into Rodans and maybe a Godzilla or two, but I guess we're gonna find out because next episode, big monster showing up.
Spooky submarine underwater, possibly Godzilla thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm predicting it's a Godzilla, not the Godzilla, just a Godzilla, and maybe we'll have like the original one and revive it, or hell, maybe they bring in Mecha Godzilla. I don't know. All I know is the dinky little robot they got now is not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, that seemed to be like a one episode thing, probably, or maybe they'll use it in like small cases, but it's not like a big major plot thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
Or maybe they could. Who knows? They could use it more. I don't know.
It depends on how they use it, or if they're gonna be able to take on the kaiju. Yep.
Well, nothing else about Godzilla. We can move on to the next show. We've got Hige o Soru, soshite Joshikousei o Hirou, which more stuff happening here. We go back to girl trying to be like, hey, have sex with me, and he's like, no, I'm still saying no. We get the date with the Kohai, and then she finds out that he's holding her but doesn't ask him many questions. And then he also, what else happened? Was it just that he went on the date with his movie date because she was persistent?
The girl ran away.
The girl ran away.
The three of them met at the park.
Yeah, Mishima had a conversation with.
Oh, that was before she.
Before Yoshida just came up, the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole, I was very impressed by that whole ending of the episode, because at first you see it and it's just kind of like uncomfortable, but then like they they end up deep diving into their emotions and what's going on, and
while simultaneously also just being what it is, because it's like fan service, but at the same time it's like doing like an emotional
Yeah,
so it's
like,
really it's kind of like what this show does well is that exactly. It's like it is not, make no mistakes, if you are offended by the concept, you will be offended by this show. But it takes a steps further and then does interesting things. So it's like it's
yeah,
cool. I don't know. It's
it's using the very premise to have an excuse to deep dive into what the emotions of the characters would be, like having to undergo through their emotions in this scenario. Yeah, I applaud for the author for being brave enough to tackle this kind of circumstance.
it's definitely interesting because it's like the girl, it makes sense for her to be like the one guy that treated her nice to be like upset that the one guy that it's nice isn't interested in her, kind of. It makes sense.
It does. It's a double-edged sword.
It like actually that sort of sentiment makes sense, and it's like, and obviously the dude's like, yeah, no, that doesn't change anything. Stop, just please stop. It's like
yeah,
and
our guy, best guy.
Yeah, he's surprising me with how much of a responsible person he is. He's definitely acting more and more like a father figure to Sayu. And it's gonna be more sad when Sayu eventually has to leave.
honestly,
Because unless her parents are abusive, then it's not like Sayu can stay here with Yoshida forever. He's gonna eventually want to date someone. It's gonna be hell of awkward having to explain the whole situation about Sayu's circumstance.
yeah, no, it's like at first, like I really criticized, like I mean, I didn't really criticize, but I was like, come on, you would just call the police, and I still think you would do that, but like once you get, if you just ignore that, like everything else is just like super realistic as in how that it might be handled. It's like you're not really sure what to do, and if you've decided that you're not just going to try immediately find the girl's parents and you're just going to like let her leave on her own, everything else kind of makes sense. I mean, it's probably going a bit far to get her a phone and stuff, like, but I don't know.
Yeah, he just wants to make her happy.
I guess if it wasn't for the phone's kind of a bit much, but maybe it was like, I wish you could, when it wasn't like a cheap phone. I could see the argument if it were like a cheap phone. But it's, I guess somebody, you could imagine somebody like, you know what, I'm just gonna get her a nice phone and then let her do her own stuff,
so
and then until she's okay to leave.
Emergency.
Yeah, but for an emergency, you could get like a, like a cheap sort of phone, and I don't think it was that, but maybe it was. Maybe you can. So I don't have to be too hard on that. You could just pretend it was like a reasonably priced phone, not like crazy expensive.
Yeah, I think that little detail does not make any difference on the overall plot.
Yeah, because I'm trying to like because like I was trying to say, like, if you just only ignore the fact that it's obviously the most reasonable thing just to contact the parents. It's actually just spot on realistic, as like if you just ignore, like if you take a person that was not willing to do that, and then I was like, well, there's this one other thing and it's the phone, but that's nitpicking too much, I think. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I thought this episode did not pull its punches. It was it was rough in some spots with just like how intense they were about like.
Oh yeah, at the beginning, wasn't his coworker the dude that had sex with her?
It wasn't the coworker. That was just some random guy, wasn't it?
Wasn't it
that? No, wasn't his friend?
I thought that was the coworker in the beginning.
Oh my gosh, was it? Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That changes everything. I didn't know that. I thought it was just some dude.
But it wasn't. It's not the coworker it's not his like close friend. It's that other guy that like showed up in the beginning. It's not the friend he's been talking to the whole time.
What if he ends up becoming like a recurring character though?
Yeah, it has to come up. They wouldn't introduce it if it wasn't going to come up. No, that's interesting. Like, so you have like the other coworker that chose the other route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I originally thought they just included that whole scene just as like a flashback to remind you, hey, yeah, this whole situation is not
This
sunshine and
happened.
rainbows.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was
like
yeah.
this whole situation is fucked, and don't you forget it.
Yeah. So
But yeah, if it turns out that it was someone we kind of know, then shoot, that changes things. And that could become very easily
it could easily
plot
come
relevant
out through like
soon.
the younger coworker. Well, I forget her name. To maybe somehow she, because she knows about it, it might come out slip from her, and then this guy ends up knowing about it. I wonder.
Yeah.
And that will be like some sort of confrontation.
Yeah, and what if that confrontation ends poorly and ends up with the girl being taken away? I could see the show going in a direction like that.
Yeah, it could be like a situation where we have like a police get involved, and not necessarily to like arrest the main dude, but maybe just to like get her back to her family. But then maybe there's still issues with her family, and then maybe the guy ends up trying to like help her out on some side of it because the family's bad. I don't know. It could go a lot of ways, and I don't know. It's interesting. I like this.
I have no idea where it's gonna go.
This has increased the level of development, and I like it even more. Like from this episode.
Yeah, it keeps pointing out surprise punches that I'm not sure how to comprehend how this was even able to make it to the publishing stage.
Well, it's good. I don't know. I don't think it's like
yeah, I'm just amazed that this show exists. That's all.
Because it covers some controversial / heavy subjects.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
there's like hardcore the back end of this, like the bad version of this that exists. So it's like, although it's that stuff's probably not getting like an anime adaptation.
That's you're not gonna find that on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, so it's like, and there's also that other show we watched that was like similar thing where you had the dude just hitting on the high school girl. We voted that one off the first week though. Yeah, nothing else to say though. This is intriguing, very very interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely liking Mishima's addition to the story. I hope they keep her up, and that I think Mishima's an alright partner for Yoshida if the show wants to get them together in the end.
I don't think he wants it though. I don't think he's into her. So I think.
Oh yeah, he's in for the big titties. That's all he wants.
It's not just that. I just don't think he's into her that much. Like, anyway, I think we should go ahead and move on. We spent more time on this show, and we can move on to Nagatoro-san, Ijiranaide Nagatoro-san.
This episode has my favorite panel of the entire manga, when Nagato was just scrunching up Senpai's head. Can never get rid of that image in my head. Just so adorable.
Oh yeah, really? They did the get caught under the rain and you're stuck together umbrella share. This is used in like a lot of romance sort of anime stuff. Is like getting caught out in the rain cliche where you either have to go to like the little covered table together or maybe share an umbrella. I liked it. I liked the. And in general, what happened in this episode is we got like. We saw that like Nagatoro. This is like really solidifies. Nagatoro's really into this guy. It's not just. She's not just teasing. She actually sort of cares about him, and it was really cute.
Yeah.
Like all of her, sort of protecting him from her friends. Like, hey, don't touch him. He's mine, kind of thing.
As well as that, she's not smug all the time. She can have different emotions.
Yeah, and our guy wasn't such a shy, awkward loser this time. Like he's starting to come out of his shell a little bit. So progress.
Yeah. So we got we're moving away from the starting stage to like how things progress, and I don't know. I really like the dynamic. Like it's like the way they did her inviting him home. It was like she felt awkward, but she knew it was the right thing to do, and it wasn't just like a gimmick. She's like, it is kind of rainy. You should probably come home and like just stop by my house and just
and have fun playing video games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
In
the
her own
and it's the
special way.
classic. It's the classic. Oh, I'm the best at Smash Brothers thing, where she's like, "Oh, I'm really good," and he's like, and he just sort of like plays and is like, "Yeah, I'm not that good," and then they play and he's way better. It's just like that's the classic, like, from like people who don't play video games in any sort of competitive sport, and someone who's like not good but plays competitively, kind of, or not even competitively, just has played enough
Aggressively.
to know something. And so I
Yeah.
assume this guy's maybe good, maybe not good, I don't know, but he at least plays, and she's like just a total beginner saying, "Oh, I'll totally beat you," and then of course he wins when she doesn't like poke him, like tease him while he's playing, but then she starts teasing him while he plays, and that changes it. But I don't know. That was
Hey, a win's a win.
So that was
Win
cute.
to
But
win.
I will say something I found interesting. I think they did it once or twice last episode, but especially this episode. He's been getting like a lot of the stuff that he's seen so negatively is things that he's like imagining in his own mind that is just not the case. Like, oh yeah, she's gonna be so mean and tease me, or like this time when he comes home and he's like, oh yeah, I bet the parents are gonna be like such assholes to me and they're gonna pick on me. Like, no.
No, that's the normal way to think
So
about it. That
that's
guy, his logic makes total sense. I'm not
yeah, but
joking.
then
That's it makes sense. Even though it's not reality, it makes
um,
sense.
I
Yeah,
mean, like I
I
can
have
kind
that
of see
way
where
of
it's coming
thinking too.
from, but I feel like he does it so often and then quite a number of times it doesn't end up being nearly as bad as he expects.
I mean, that's me
Like,
my whole life, though. I've been I don't know. I think that is a pattern of thinking that is a exemplified in that character that is super relatable if you know that pattern of thinking. Uh,
mm,
I definitely get all of that where you're just like expecting, oh no, if I, and then you do the thing and like it's fine.
yeah,
That's and it's over and over, and it doesn't matter how many times it happens. It's like if you tend to think that way, you probably will continue. I mean, you can always do stuff to mitigate it and be a little more positive, but I feel like if you tend in that direction, you're always going to tend in that direction to some extent. I mean, you can work on it some, but it's you're never going to like immediately become the type of person that doesn't think that way. Uh,
hmm
Yeah. I think what's good that the scene where Senpai stand up for himself, it's not like he just suddenly became a whole lot braver. He just became a tiny
yeah, just a little bit enough to
little
say
bit brave.
something, just to be like,
And
okay, stop. Can you?
yeah,
Oh yeah, and
yeah,
I'm not her
it's
boyfriend.
reasonable character
Yeah,
development for someone like him.
it's
Even
actually
a few words uttered is enough for
I think it's
now.
perfect. I think the pacing of his change is literally like perfect. I think um if like if the first episode was an exaggeration, everything since then was like pretty
has calmed
spot on how
down.
a person
So
would
yeah,
be. Uh,
yeah. The episodes 2 and 3 were not nearly as extreme as the first one, and I think that's why I've kind of warmed up to the show. But
yeah, I
I
just really
enjoy
thought like
it.
Nagatoro being protective of him was really cute. I love that. That's
Yeah.
I love this episode. It's
Yeah, it
probably
reminds me how much I liked the manga back then.
yeah. How long ago did it come out?
I think I read it at least 3 to 4 years back.
Okay.
Definitely read it when I was in high school.
Okay, so it's pretty old. But you know, definitely deserving of adaptation. It seems very solid so far. Loving this show. Anything else? Any?
Yeah. I'm
No,
definitely happy it's more consistent. So, yeah, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, we've got Shadow's house, spooky, dark people, dust or soot monster thingies, all kinds of stuff going on.
this episode had some really great like creepy visuals, like
Yeah.
when it grabs the girl's head and like grows spider legs and starts like running around the mansion just like with her just like dangling there. Ugh.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
the
like I
setting
love
definitely
like
looks
the
fun on them.
contrast between like how terrifying what's happening is and how they're like, oh, it's just another. Oh, we got to deal with the daily chores. We got to get We just gotta
Yeah,
pour water on her.
yeah.
It'll
Who
be
knew
fine.
Jules would be a life or death situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Like,
they're
you gotta be careful.
strongly brainwashed here because this is very obviously like an extreme scenario.
Yeah, they're definitely not getting paid for their labor.
I loved
No.
I loved how like pitiful but cute Lou was. She's like dumb but in a cute way. She's just like the thing's up in the corner and she just barely sprays the water and it's not anywhere far enough and she just sort of stares at it. It's like, "Oh." But she doesn't do anything else. I loved it. That was like one of my favorite parts. Do you remember that part with the like squirt bottle?
Yeah.
She just like stares up at the corner,
Yeah.
barely squirts it, and it doesn't even reach the corner. But like
because they're very obviously not prepared to handle this extreme fight.
But she's like, she doesn't even show terror or fear. It's just like she just sort of pauses and just like stares, like, "Huh, it didn't work." But
Yeah.
it's like she doesn't even process that it didn't work, but she just sort of holds it there. I just love that sort of facial expression. It was so cute. I don't know.
Yeah, she's my favorite protagonist of the season. She's so easily lovable, and you want to root for her and hope that she stays
Wait,
safe.
do you mean Emiliko, or I'm talking about Lou, the red-haired girl?
Oh, yeah, okay, I got them two
Well,
mixed
because
up.
Emiliko actually solved the problem. She broke the vase and poured the water. Lou just sort of like stared in the corner. She sprayed it and it didn't work. And then she's like, "Huh?" And then she just sort of stares there and like sprays the. And it's like the spray bottle goes like 1 foot, but like the thing is like 12 feet away or 6 feet away in the corner. So then she just sort of, and rather than moving closer, she just continues to stand there. It was really funny.
Yeah.
I see.
I feel like just this episode generally helped like drive home the like how like creepy and something's not right this whole situation is. Just like ominous, spooky stuff, like how serious they got about the what's the ceremony called? Where they're
Oh, I
what's the thing
forget.
where they
Is it like
go out in front of everybody for the first time?
it's like ohirome or something, or
Yeah, I forget the word they used in the subs, but yeah, that's happening. That's implied to be like a big deal coming soon, and
was it like
they're like,
unveiling or something, or
yeah, it's something like that, and she's like, so what happens if you do it and it doesn't go well? And they're like, stop asking questions.
and there's
You're
also
like,
like the
oh
floor system, like to go to the next level. That was
yeah, the and like, oh yeah, the other wing where the adults live.
mm-hmm.
That's gonna be, I'm sure it's gonna get very interesting when we meet them.
Oh yeah, and Kate has like special powers too. Like
Yeah, like I guess yeah, I guess she has dust powers. I wonder if the others have powers and they just haven't said anything about it, or if
Kate's actually special in some way.
yeah, if she's actually special. Which, if that's the case, makes sense to focus on that pair as the main characters, but we'll see. What if everyone has a different like soot related power? I don't know.
Maybe Kate's the only one, and Mirko and Kiska learn how to grow that power in time for the competition.
Yeah, we shall find
Like,
out.
get a menace to the Shadow family.
Also, just how creepy Rosemary's face was after she got saved. It's just like, and then they just, oh, she'll be fine after. She'll be fine after a day. And it's like, I love the lightheartedness to like the crazy scenario that's going on. That's just the day to day life, and it's a good juxtaposition. I guess is the best thing to say to explain it. It's good.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of mystery to be unveiled here in this show, and it has caught my interest, and I want to know where it goes.
Yep, the show's definitely using its setting to its full advantage, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other characters in the ED. Hope they can live up to the hype, at least my own personal hype.
Yeah, I bet soon the unveiling ceremony is going to happen, and we're going to meet all the pairs, and at least one of them is not going to do well, and something's going to happen, and that's going to kind of trigger, like, I guess the second, like, that'll be like setting off the conflict for whatever happens in the second half of the season.
Yeah. Well, I just noticed, looking at the icon for the show, you have like the 5 characters, and above them their shadows. So maybe they're all gonna matter. I guess
Yeah, I think they will.
that's an
I bet
implicit
you anything.
It's an implicit spoiler that I didn't notice until I just happened to notice. Like, if you look at the icon for the show, on the bottom half you have all of the characters that are the match for the shadows on the top, and we've already seen Lou and Emilico, but then there's like 3 dudes too, so they'll probably matter, I guess.
Oh, I guess we haven't seen any of the guys yet, like, at all, have we?
Yeah.
Where them,
Were there
even the
any
dolls,
males
like,
in the entire part of
no,
the
there
build?
were. The only time we saw them was the showers. They were in a line for their own set of showers. That's the only time we've seen them so far in the whole season.
So maybe they have different jobs in the house, or something that's not cleaning, or something else. I don't know.
Maybe either that, or they're just on a different wing.
Maybe, and it's just like
There's the
separated
boys, the
by...
girls, and the adults.
Yeah, maybe.
And they just space them out. So that could be a thing. We'll find out.
Yep.
Yeah. We're excited for there to be more answers.
I want to know what happens in this show.
And you had the spooky dude at the end that was like, "Ooh, I only care about myself and not the new people," or whatever. Yeah. I will move up. Well, whoever that guy was. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Was that the end of the episode?
Did I miss it? I don't know.
Yeah, it was like an older shadow doll dude that was like, he doesn't care about the results of the new dolls, and or whatever they're called. Are they called Iki Ningyo?
I don't think I saw this thing. Maybe it's post credit.
Yeah, it's post. There was a post credit thing, and he was
I didn't watch it because I thought that was like a preview for next episode.
Yeah, it wasn't a preview. It was like a postcard where this dude's like, haha, I don't care about the results of the younger dolls. I'm trying to move up to the next layer of the house, or whatever. Something like that. So he's like sinister, posing a antagonist type figure, I guess, to maybe show up later. But yep,
we'll find out.
We'll find out next. Okay, can move on to the next show, which is Slime Taoshite 300年 Shiranai Uchi ni level max ni Nattemashita. Slime. I'll say slime, I guess. Killing slimes and maxing out your level without realizing it, because you just did it for a long time.
Yep.
Remember when that was the first episode? I sure do remember. And now we're in week 3.
And they just will not stop introducing new characters. Like, please.
Give us time to get to know these new characters.
Yeah, I don't care about it. If you're just going to be character of the week and just add someone on every single time, no one's going to care about them after their introductory episode. Come on.
Well, I think that's what it's going to be. It's looking like we're getting a character of the week show.
Yeah, like literally at the end of the episode, like the dragon lady just says, "Hey, I gotta move," and now it's gonna. I think what themes this show has, it's gonna explore Azusa's reluctance to let go, because she's been lonely and working all her life, but now she's in this new world. She's been discovering new friends and getting new family, but one of her family members decides she has to move. So I guess this is like a character arc? Or is that how it's gonna go? Anyway, but that's like a speculation for the next episode. We gotta focus on this episode, which just focused on the introduction of an elf. And what was the term they used for this demon?
I don't even remember.
Oh gosh, I should have taken more notes.
I forget even why they're chasing her. She did something wrong, and then people are down.
The elf makes energy drinks, and the energy drinks poison demons. So the demon wants revenge because she got poisoned and got sick.
But it's not like it. But it turns out at the end it wasn't with ill intentions, and she just wants the her to produce more of the energy drinks because it's actually better for, I think, like the demons that she looks after.
Oh, is this like
Yeah,
the
they all really enjoyed it.
chocolate and SpongeBob?
Yeah, exactly like that, but SpongeBob was way more funny.
Yeah.
So this was just like a bad remake of a SpongeBob episode.
Where it's
Yeah.
like she's running from them the whole time, but they actually just want to ask her to make more.
Yep. Yeah, official patent recipe.
Wow, I just don't have anything to say. You have big titty elf girl. That's my notes for this episode.
Neat.
Right. Do we need to try and make it all big analytical or
I just don't
no?
have anything to say. If you guys don't
I don't
either,
either.
we can
No,
move on.
all the interesting stuff I had was just literally just took it over 10 seconds, the last 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll move on to the next show. SSSS.Dynazenon. Billion S's. All the S's.
Yeah.
I forget what happened this week because this show's mostly the same. Let's look at what I wrote down.
It was just they it picks off where I left off, where they've
Oh yeah, they were
talked
like
with
they
the,
knew each other
the
5,000
Kaiji
years in the
users.
past, and
Yeah, why does that what?
Yeah, what? I thought, I understand if it's like,
That doesn't
if
feel like a
they would-
reveal because we don't have context for it. That's just
yeah.
like
well,
you're
it's just
like,
giving
stating trivia.
history. It's not a reveal as much as it is just background. It's just like, oh, here's some backstory for this dude, kind
I
of.
mean, it would
So-
make sense if they woke up from the Sengoku Jidai era, but 5,000 years ago, was humanity even, like, that seems like this ancient
That's
time.
like that's like ancient Egypt and Babylon and
And
You know, I didn't
guarantee
even
you
think
there's no,
about that. I just
robot
sort of
methods
thought, okay,
running
they had
around.
robots in the past and they fall. I don't even care if it's at Earth or where. I don't even know where it could be. It could be another place. I just think, okay, they knew each
Oh
other
yeah,
in
they
the
could
past.
be aliens, I guess.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But I mean, I like watching the show. It's like it's the same thing, but I do just like to sit down and watch this show. They're just like, ooh, big car monster fight, punch, ooh, big brr. I don't know. It's fine. It's so simple,
Yeah.
but it's like
It's such a simple show that the protagonist and main antagonist can just hang around for a chat and then talk about,
and you just have silly
he
looking.
might not seem as trustworthy as he seems.
Oh yeah, and
Just
what's
like
his
a
name
casual
met with
chat.
that dude today, right? He like the main
Yeah.
character.
They just chatted at the school grounds, or like,
Yeah, like it's weird because like the tone of the show, like when they're not fighting, it seems like they're not taking this very seriously. They're like,
yeah,
oh,
it's
do we
like
want to save
watching
the
a
world
rich
from robots
series.
or like go to gym class?
I
And they
like
have to
it.
stop and
I
think
like
about it
that.
for-
It's just, it's basically like like Power Rangers, I guess. It was never like it's the same kind of vibe, right? It's
It
like
just feels like all of the characters like don't care enough to like show up. Like they're barely invested in their own show.
It's like an unintentional comedy, but for a different era.
Yeah, because the whole episode is them just like standing around like being angsty teenagers at school or whatever, and then suddenly, oh my god, robot fighting! Ah!
I like it. I don't know. I like that. I don't want them to be like, oh, we are now dedicated to save. No, they're just like, yeah, we're just this in the background. That's what I do after school.
Yeah, but like you could take it a little bit seriously. Just
I, don't, I
But
like the
where's
nose.
the
I like.
fun in
Yeah, they do
that?
take it. They do take it seriously enough. They are there when they need to be.
Hmm.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
remember
the
like that
funny
one
thing
dude
is-
found like his friend that was married now or something. That was like a random character bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The homeless,
obligatory. That's a
the
bit.
the dude that like never leaves his room or whatever. That was
So-
somewhat.
Yeah, apparently the antagonist group, the Kaiju Genesis, can't be killed. Like the head-to-head guy got apparently killed at the end, but he resurrected. So yeah, I think
Or
this
maybe
is
they
just
just
kind
missed.
of no. He got completely blown up. He just his body got vaporized and then it just came back.
I don't know. He's just a really lucky dude.
Yeah, I think that's like a status quo kind of thing, because no matter how much the heroes defeat the villains just keep coming back.
Yeah.
And I
I
got
will say-
more to spare.
Where this show really shines is when they are having a fight, because it's insane, over the top. Just like
I like how comical it looks, but it's also cool. Like it's silly but cool at the same time. It's
yeah,
like
it's not taking itself seriously at all.
it's like you're
but-
playing with toys, you know. It's like you got your toys and you're fighting them.
I know from experience.
It's exactly like that. It's like you're like 10 years old or 40 years. I don't age, put age in or not, and you're just fighting your toys and you're making them do this cool stuff, and then they do their
Yeah,
cool
but
stuff.
that's like a cool sound effect.
Yeah, that's basically what the show is. It's like it's like animated in full quality of a kid playing with their toys and making them fight. And it's good. I don't know. I like it.
It's fun.
Yeah, I usually don't watch these kinds of shows, but they need to be made for a very special purpose.
Like I also haven't watched a lot of shows like this, but like it's almost making me like, you know what, this is enjoyable. This is pleasant. I kind of like this. It's like I wouldn't expect to like this, but I do. It's not like my favorite show that I'm watching right now, but it's good. It's definitely like if this will probably get voted off eventually, but I'll probably finish this one just because it's pleasant. It's pleasant enough to watch where I like don't mind turning it on and watching an episode each week.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that would make sense for someone like you.
All right, moving on to the next show, unless no one else has anything else, right?
Nope.
Okay, we've got Tokyo Revengers, the episode where we introduce the gang leader dudes, or two of them.
Yeah.
This was not how I expected it to play out at all.
Really? What did you expect it to come out like?
I figured it would be like they wouldn't just like drop in one of the two guys he was looking for just like that, and that he would want to be like best buddy friends.
Yeah, I thought there
that
was going to be
makes
I
sense.
thought there was going to be a slow climb, right? I definitely expected
Exactly,
that.
yeah. Like shonen style, you got to beat this guy, and then you got to beat this guy, and then you got to beat this guy, and then the show's like, you know what? No, fighting is like for the peon dumb idiots. We're like next level.
Yeah, we're best friends now.
Yeah,
Hey, fist bump.
Yeah, and
I
that's
honestly
just-
was a little disappointed at how cheesy some of this was. Like when they walk on the dudes in the hallway, I was like, okay, this is kind of
Yeah,
silly.
it's a little bit too much for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely like smelling like shonen. I mean, it is a shonen, but it's like smelling too shonen with that kind of thing. That's like a cheesy, like, haha, we stepped on the dudes in the hallway. We're like the tough guys, and we own this town. It's just too much. I don't know. It's like
It's really trying to be too cool for me.
I think they just needed a way to like demonstrate that. Yeah, these two are like will beat your ass and like they're tough and will fight. But
it was
they
did it in a way that was kind of cheesy and silly instead of
it's not like cruel or evil.
It's not scary or intimidating. I mean, it is.
Exactly,
I guess. Yeah. Like I feel like they should have made it more in a way that was felt more serious. To where now it feels comical with walking on people down the hallway. It's just
maybe that was intentional because it is a delinquent show. So maybe it's just like has a high school level of seriousness. And what could be more serious than being humiliated by being stepped on?
Just a little silly. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
It was, but I don't take any offense to it because, like I said, I think
like this actually is like seriously dropped my impression of this show was.
No, that's I legitimately didn't see this coming. That they'd meet one of the two future mob bosses, and that he'd be like not a bad guy.
I mean, it makes sense to me. I looked at his character design, and he doesn't look like at all a bad guy. He just looks like one of those cool, suave dudes that helps the hero in the show. Like he's an important character, but it's not like super best friends.
It's
but
also
supposedly in the show, there are like I don't know if you use him as a best friend because of how determined he was.
That's such like a shonen cliche. Is like, oh, you're not strong, but as long as you try hard, you'll. I just like. I mean, that's not. You can use that, but I'm definitely a little annoyed that it's only that and not something else.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, because if Sana wasn't there on that day, Hanagaki's ass would have been in purple red.
yeah, like it's a little that sort of, oh well, you're not strong, but as long as you like keep standing up against the bigger person over and over again, then you'll prove yourself. I just feel like that as a concept is not, to me particularly, isn't that interesting. It's like I get it. I mean,
Well, I mean, it's
I
not
liked
a
the
show
stand
about
up. I liked
fist fighting people, though.
I
Like,
liked the
it's about gang warfare, and like how good you are at punching people doesn't matter when you're bringing like guns and knives to a fight. So
yeah.
at that point, yeah, fighting spirit kind of does matter more.
Well, no, I'm saying it makes sense. It's more that as a concept, I don't find it super interesting when that's like the thing that separates the main character as, oh, he's got this now. Even if it does make sense contextually, I just don't like when a story that's the thing that they want to focus on. But I do like specifically like the standing up for his girlfriend kind of thing. That's like a different characteristic that's just like more than standing up to anyone for yourself. It's the idea of like there are certain things that you have to stand up for, have to protect, and that I see that
Yeah.
as a different.
You gotta protect your loved ones.
It's like a slightly different thing, which I like more, I guess. But also, I mean, that
Yeah,
one's
that
all.
makes sense in this scenario.
I mean, it's also like exaggerated and used a lot too. But for some reason, the stand up for things that are worth standing up for premise is one I like more than just the generic, oh, stand up to the tough guy over and over to prove yourself. It's like stand up for with purpose when there are things that you must stand up for. I guess I like that sentiment better, and that's more like when he was protecting Hina. I liked that one, and I like that we get the
Yeah.
characterization where they have at least have some facet of idea of morality, like in the gang. That's like they have like the idea of like your traditional honor or whatever, or
Yeah.
protect the
Too
people you
bad for
care.
Son. Yeah. Too bad for Sano in the future. He's apparently like acting like a criminal. I guess he got corrupted by that other guy he's gonna eventually meet.
Yeah, the
The
other
other
guy seems like
gang.
he's the one who's responsible for everything bad that's happened in the show in the future. So
And Sano got taken along for the ride.
Yep.
See, this is why you can't hang out with delinquents. They're gonna take you to a bad place. But unfortunately, Hanagaki, this is not the kind of show that you can rest on your laurels. You gotta face up to the music and save your girlfriend.
yeah,
Yep. Not much
Right.
else to say. And then finally,
Not much.
last show we have Vivy again.
save the best for last.
Ooh.
Alphabetical.
I
But yeah.
But also, we saved the best for last. As always, the show did not disappoint, and it kicked ass.
Also a
It
fan.
was interesting and set up the new. It seems like they're gonna do like little 2-episode arcs where they go in to stop a particular historical moment from happening.
Yeah,
From what
because they'll
ruins
do a
the
time
future.
skip and do something,
Yeah,
do a time
so
skip,
every
do
2
something. Yeah.
episodes we're gonna get a time skip because this one starts 15 years later than the last one, which I was hoping the show would take this direction instead of just like, oh, this whole season we're going to be in this decade, and then later we'll do another one. Like, no, we're going, and probably by season's end we'll be caught up to
the present
where our
time.
season opened it with.
Yeah. This
But
like
this
space
is a-
hotel was interesting. It's just like the whole
Yeah,
Yeah, it
atmosphere was,
definitely seems like
the
something
concept
that we
behind
could
it.
see in our lifetime.
which
And,
is
like,
weird. I
using
literally just watched like the returning of this dragon shuttle last night, which is like funny. Like, oh, we're going back to space like in real time, and it's also like in the show I'm watching. It's like,
Yeah. And this whole trying to figure out, is she good, is she bad, that was answered for us at the end of the episode, but like right up until then,
super
you're like,
spook,
oh, it's a big
super.
misunderstanding. She's innocent. She didn't do this.
Just the atmosphere
But
of this show, like, is just so good. Like, I don't know, like, it's like you can just talk about what happens, but that doesn't do the show justice. For me, it's like
yeah, no, it's
just the feeling while watching this show is so good. It's visuals are great, but more than that, it's like somehow it comes together and just you feel intrigue and I don't know, like mystery, but ambient vibes and color, and I don't know. It's hard to put into words how this show makes me feel, but it's excellent. Like, just love watching this show.
yeah.
Right.
Incredible episode. The space hotel itself is very cool and interesting in concept and in execution. The the idea of like one of these big future changing events being, oh yeah, we dropped a space station out of orbit, is like a kind of like in like a terroristy sort of way.
Could easily be the type of thing that would be a traumatic event that would happen. It's like,
Yeah, like that feels like a little too real, if you know
yeah,
what I mean.
yeah,
Like in 100 years, if there was a space hotel, it's not impossible something like this could happen. And just when you see those photos from like the future news, of like this, like it burning up as it like comes in the atmosphere and then crashing in back into the earth,
yeah. It's
that's some
definitely,
like, that gives you some vibes of like pictures of like the crashing Hindenburg or something like that, of just this like awful tragedy that killed everyone on board.
yeah. I mean, that is the risk of putting anything in space, and
Oh yeah, I know, but
having
using that,
but
it's
like
like,
once you get past the point of once we're used to it, it still doesn't go away, right? And like that's
yeah,
kind of the idea, is like we do get used to it and start to put more things in space, but then the thing that could always have happened happens or will happen or could happen. It's just,
yeah. But this is on par with using something like the sinking of the Titanic as a plot point in the show, which just like this huge like super famous disaster that just changes the course of history.
yeah.
That has happened IRL many times. And so seeing like a futuristic version of it in this sci-fi
Oh
setting
yeah,
is,
like 9/11 and airports that just changed air
yeah.
travel in the United States and probably other countries too
And
forever.
exactly, like this it feels like this almost hits a little too close to home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And what was
But
the thing with
it's
Estella, like having like being based on Vivy's model or something?
just the fact that she can sing really good.
Yeah, but wasn't there like something about her being like the follow-up model of her or something?
Yeah, just like they built a bunch of androids in her style and they are able to sing good. That's all that really referred to.
Okay.
But because it was like the Mark II version of Vivy, she has like she tried to be a bit more compassionate, which turned out not to be warranted because Estella, it like ripped that other one's fucking head off.
Yeah, and that other one was like definitely
Suspicious, like, oh
she
yeah,
was definitely
she killed
suspicious
the
of
old,
Estella. Yeah.
yeah, she killed the old owner so she could take control. And while maybe that's not true, she's going berserk now for some reason, which I'm sure they'll explain through like a reveal, like, oh yeah, my single purpose is for hospitality and I don't want to fail my. It's like she's gonna have some like weird logic to like rationalize this,
Yeah.
killing everyone, and it's just like weird warped logic
Yeah. The
to
the classic
justify
AI
crashing it.
dilemma moral thing. It's like
Exactly. I bet that's gonna come up next episode.
I mean that's the point of the show, is like the when an AI optimizes something to like the nth degree, what is the outcome? And it's like, how do we
Yeah.
sort of
And the fact that
rationalize
we
our
have
ways
so
around
many
that?
different AI characters and they all come to very different conclusions is
Yeah, you have like
interesting.
different functions that do different things. It's actually cool. Yeah,
Like
definitely.
there are human characters in the show, but they almost don't matter.
Yeah, you've got Teddy Bear and Vivy. I can't even remember Teddy Bear's name. Is any other contents, or can we move on to the voting stage?
That's all I have to say. This show is good.
Yep, definitely good.
Yay.
All right, we can move on to the voting then. We can take a short pause and vote. Okay, and we have done the voting, and with a whopping perfect last place score by all three voters, Slime, Taoshite, 300 nen Shiranai Uchi ni level max ni Nattemashita is outed. We don't have to ever say that again. Long ass name show. It's
just
gone.
going off. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like these kinds of shows. I can enjoy a show that has a relaxing
It's just
pace,
compared to
it just
everything
needs to have-
else. I would rather watch everything else.
It needs to have like an interesting theme or interesting characters or have an interesting setting. Just not like this. Not like this.
Like this
So
is
we're
a
all
this
in
is a
agreement.
watchable show, but I just rather watch the other ones by a good
Yeah.
margin. Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
That's all it is. And that's all it ever
And
will
that's
be.
the wrap up for this week. Bye everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you next week. Ka-chow.